Step number 4. Create and feature top-notch list incentives. Now that you have a clear idea of what incentives you can offer for your list, the next step is to come up with incentives that will position your list for success. There are 2 ways to do this. As I've mentioned in step number 3, you can just go through the list of incentives and pick which ones work the best with your particular traffic source. The alternative is to simply do what your competitors are doing. Pay attention to their incentives. Reverse engineer your competitors' incentives. Start with the industry standard incentive type by signing up to your competitors' mailing lists. Get a copy of their incentives. Study their materials very closely. Try to figure out their strong points and their weak points. Come up with something better by offering the same strong points while at the same time avoiding any of the weak spots. Let's face it, regardless of how tight and awesome your competitors' incentives may be, there's always room for improvement. Figure out these areas and create something better. Remember, there are 2 ways to play this. You can actually come up with something objectively better, or you can produce something that is perceived as something better. Whatever the case may be, it has to be better. How do you produce a better incentive? This is the question that's begging to be asked. Now that we're clear that we have to come up with an incentive that either blows the competition out of the water or is perceived to be better, how exactly do we go about doing that? Here are some ideas. First, you can offer an incentive that is complete. In other words, when you study your competitors' incentives, they might be holding back on certain pieces of information. They might be offering really basic information. If you came up with an incentive that is fully complete, you will stand head and shoulders above your competitors. Word might even get around that the incentive that you deliver truly solves the problem that your target customers have in a very thorough way. Another approach you could take is to simply offer longer content. For example, if your biggest competitor is offering a free booklet that lists out 10 solutions to potential list members' problems, offer a booklet that offers 20, 30, or even 50 solutions. The key here is to come up with an incentive that, on face value, is so vastly superior that people can't help but sign up for it. Don't just go with doubling your competitor. Blow them out of the water by a magnitude of 5 to 1 or 10 to 1. If the industry standard is to offer 10 solutions, come up with 50 or even 100 solutions. Like it or not, people tend to equate longer products with higher value products. Of course, you and I know that this is not necessarily the case, but there is that mental bias. Alternatively, you can offer an incentive that is more engaging to people. For example, the industry standard in your niche might involve really complicated or jargon-filled materials for all sorts of products. When you read through this, it seems like you have to be some sort of brain surgeon or rocket scientist to make heads or tails of these materials. What if you were to come up with an incentive that is written in plain 8th grade English and actually engages people on an emotional level? Your incentive will blow everybody else away because your stuff is more accessible and easier to process. What use is a seemingly complete incentive when it's written in ancient Greek? Do you see where I'm coming from? Focus on engagement. Understand that the people who will be downloading your incentives are flesh and blood human beings with real problems. Start there. Finally, you can offer basically the same industry standard incentive as your competitors, but you packaged it better. When people read the same information but it's formatted in a nice PDF with lots of helpful pictures and everything is written in a well-spaced, well-formatted way, don't be surprised that people walk away with the impression that you have a better incentive. It turns out that you're offering the exact same information. The only thing that's different is that you formatted it in a way that is more accessible, easier to process, and most importantly, easier to act upon. Reverse engineer your competitors' squeeze pages. Now that you have reverse engineered your competitors' incentives, the next step is to design a better page to give away that incentive. Again, your notes and your competitors will come in handy here. You need to come up with squeeze pages that would blow everybody else out of the water. How do you do this? Well, you can come up with better design. Maybe everybody is using the same standard design. You can start there, but come up with different elements to get visitors to engage with your page better. You should also study how your competitors' squeeze pages focus, present, and position their incentive. Are they missing something? Do they forget to highlight certain things? Maybe they're just assuming that people who will land on the squeeze page would automatically want the incentive. Come up with a squeeze page that shines the spotlight more clearly and more efficiently on your incentive. Finally, you can reverse engineer your competitor squeeze pages in such a way that the value proposition this page brings to the table is clearer. You have to remember that people are always asking, "What's in it for me?" You have to answer that question loud and clear. The value proposition that you bring to the table must be compelling enough for people to want to leave their email address. Make sure to do this. Based on my many years of list marketing, I can tell you that the vast majority of list marketers automatically assume that when people sign up for their list, they would actually welcome the updates. This is why most list marketers fail. You cannot assume this. Like I said earlier, there's a certain percentage of your visitors that are going to be list squatters. If you're not careful, this percentage can keep growing until they form the majority of your list. You have to make sure to emphasize the value of the updates on your list. You have to do this right before they sign up by including such text in the squeeze page. You also have to do this on the confirmation page that they get. You should tell them that they're getting the booklet, template, book, or whatever incentive you're offering, but they're also going to be getting very useful updates. You may want to invest some time highlighting the value these updates will bring to the lives of your list members. If you fail to do this, you run the risk of building a list full of squatters. Worse yet, people might be surprised that you're sending updates and might consider your email spam. You probably don't need me to tell you why that's bad news. Do yourself a big favor and emphasize the value of the updates of your list, because this is the only reason why you're giving out incentives in the first place. By getting all caught up in the incentive you're giving away, you end up sabotaging the success of your list. Make sure to keep your priorities straight. Otherwise, your list marketing business might go belly up sooner or later. Create a two-step list recruitment setup. A lot of list marketers are under the impression that the more people that join their list, the better. I'm telling you, the whole idea of the more the merrier doesn't work in list marketing. In many cases, you'd be making a lot more money having less people on your list than having a bloated list of squatters or uninterested people. You have to make sure that only people who are truly interested in the value of your updates get on and stay on your list. One very powerful way to do this is to create a two-step list recruitment setup. A lot of list marketers set up their lead capture pages in such a way that when you load a page, you only need to enter your email address and your name and click the submit button. That's all you need to do. Automatically, you'll get a confirmation and you are on their list. The confirmation page usually has a download link to their incentive that you signed up for. This is going to be a problem because this can attract curiosity seekers. This can attract people who are not really all that interested, but are just curious as to the incentive that they would get. In other words, you risk attracting all the wrong eyeballs. You have to set up your list in such a way where the prospect has to click a button to get to the form. This added step filters out curiosity seekers. Your form gets in front of the eyeballs of people who are more motivated. They have to read an ad or text that spells out the opportunity and benefit of your list. They then click through to get to the squeeze page form. In other words, you qualify them before you sign them up to your list. Either way, if you do this right, your form should talk about the benefits of the mailing list. This two-step process can go a long way in eliminating curiosity seekers and ensuring that people who sign up for your list are more likely to read your updates. Modern email marketing. Modern email marketing uses a two-step email recruitment process. When people click through to the email form, they're essentially asking to opt in after they have become aware of the incentives. In other words, they already know what's in it for them. They are looking to establish a relationship with you. They want to give you permission to continue talking to them. Using this two-step process is less intimidating, and they also are given the impression that they're calling the shots. It's their choice whether to click through to the form or not. Another great benefit of modern email marketing's two-step email sign-up process is that this enables you to offer different incentives at different parts of your blog page. When people load your content, they see different ads for different lists. When they read the ad, they learn about the value that the list would deliver, and then they click through to join that list. You get a lot of control over your mailing list because you can qualify people based on their interest. Different people with different needs would sign up to different lists. This segmented email marketing approach can lead to higher conversion rates. Instead of just dumping everybody who's interested in a wide range of problems related to your niche on one general mailing list, you end up with highly filtered lists speaking to different problems. You can then offer laser-targeted solutions to each of these lists and walk away with better conversions. Step number 5. Decide between updates versus pre-scheduled emails. The next question that you're going to have to tackle is, when will you be sending out your emails? You have to understand that your squeeze page sets up your list members' expectations. If you do things right, your list members should not be surprised that you're sending out emails to them. They should expect this information. You have to decide whether your list is going to be an update-driven list or a scheduled list. People who sign up for update-driven lists expect emails to come at any time. Maybe there's late-breaking news in your niche. Maybe there is a hot development that needs their attention. Whatever the case may be, people who sign up for such lists expect updates to come at any time. In fact, they wouldn't mind if they receive several emails within a day. On the other hand, there are lists that are expected to send updates every once in a while. Maybe there are no late-breaking developments. Maybe there is a shortage of news in your niche. Regardless of the reason, people expect to receive emails only if there is something really important in your update. Finally, there are many lists that involve pre-scheduled updates. These are usually tutorials or autoresponder series that people specifically sign up for. For example, if I sign up for an email list that is promising to teach me how to trade Bitcoin on a weekly basis, I would expect that I would receive a tutorial email with links to instructional videos once a week. Make sure you set up the right expectations, because this will decide how frequent your updates will be. Timing depends on subscriber expectations. Make sure that your squeeze page and all other promotional materials set up the right expectations. Be as clear as possible. Do your readers expect to be sent only the most relevant and pressing information? Do they expect periodic emails as they step through certain information? I wish I could tell you that this is pretty straightforward, but it isn't. It really depends on the incentive you're using. It is also influenced by your target niche. Maybe you're in a niche where people expect rapid updates. For example, the cryptocurrency world changes rapidly. There are all sorts of late-breaking news. If you were to sign up for a mailing list specializing in cryptocurrency, you probably would want to be notified about the latest moves by global regulators or authorities involving Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Finally, you might want to consider the industry standard of your niche. If you sign up for your competitors' list and you notice that they tend to have the same schedule when it comes to their updates, then you might want to start with that schedule. You should start there, but this does not necessarily mean that you should end there. Use their schedule as a starting base, and then tweak your email schedules based on the actual behavior of your list members. Pay attention to the following tips to make sure you maximize the results you get from your email lists. Optimize for maximum opens or responsiveness. Now that you've set up your mailing list, your main job is to make sure your emails are getting opened, read, and acted on. This is the essence of list marketing. If you fail to optimize your emails, then your list is dead in the water. It really would be. Why? What's the point of getting a lot of people to join your mailing list when they're not going to be reading your emails? If nobody is clicking on your links or reading your materials, then your business is practically dead. There is no way you can make money from your list when people are not taking action on the emails that you send out. You have to work actively to maximize the percentage of people opening your emails, reading them, and clicking on them. Each of these actions involves fewer and fewer people. You can start with 1,000 people on your list and end up with only 100 people opening your emails. Of those people, only 20 might end up clicking on the link included in the body of your email. Think in terms of this filtration process. Try to maximize the percentage of people taking action at each step. Start out with a large base of list members. Try to maximize the number of people opening your email and then work to increase the number of people reading through your emails and clicking through to your target website. How do you optimize for maximum open rates and responsiveness? It is actually quite simple. First, you need to be clear about your target niche for your list. Put simply, your updates have to be all about your niche. They have to be targeted to the set of problems people in your niche have. Set the right expectations with your squeeze page. Inform people before they sign up to your list that they would be receiving email updates. Clue them into the value those email updates will bring to their lives. Don't just play up the incentive that you're giving out so people can join your list. That's how a lot of list marketers fail. They put too much emphasis on their bribe and don't pay enough attention to getting their prospective list members excited about the emails they will be receiving. If you put too much emphasis on the giveaways and incentives you are using to get people to sign up to your mailing list, don't be surprised when people get shocked that they received an update from you. They might even be blind to the fact that they signed up to a mailing list. Your squeeze page might have emphasized or played up the incentive so much that your list members were under the impression that you're just giving away free stuff and won't be sending them emails. Set the right expectations with your squeeze page. Emphasize the value of the emails people will be getting. Clue them into the fact that they will be receiving emails. Make sure that there is a tight fit between the incentive you're offering and the needs of your audience members. Whatever incentive you're giving away, it must speak directly to the needs of your audience members. This is how you create value in their eyes. The more valuable, credible, and authoritative your brand appears to them, the higher the chance that they would open your emails and take you seriously. If it turns out that you are offering incentives that don't really directly address their needs, they are probably not going to be all that eager to open and much less take action on the emails you send. Another way you can optimize your email marketing is to send out only relevant and on-point updates or autoresponder texts. In other words, when people sign up for a specific niche, everything that they receive from you would talk about that niche and nothing else. If you send out updates that have nothing to do with what your list members sign up for, don't be surprised if a lot of them would unsubscribe. You shouldn't be all that shocked when people stop reading your emails. They may remain on your mailing list, but they don't do anything. They are no longer opening your emails. Make sure to send only relevant and on-point updates. This way, you preserve your chance of actually making money off your mailing list. It doesn't matter whether you're sending updates or you have pre-programmed autoresponder emails being sent out by your system. Your stuff has to be relevant. Otherwise, your list members would start ignoring your updates. Make sure that everything in your email is consistent. It's not enough that your email talks about the problems of the niche your list members signed up for. Your emails must be internally consistent. You must remain focused like a laser in adding value to the lives of your list members. They should immediately see that reading your emails would add something to their lives. Finally, once you have people on your main email list, you need to work quickly to segment them. In other words, when people sign up for your general niche list, you need to start sending updates that would enable them to separate or filter themselves based on the specific subproblems that they are interested in. You can also send updates with links to low-cost products, so you can segment your list membership base into two camps: proven buyers and information list members. Once you have these two segmented lists going, you can then spend a lot more time trying to convert the proven buyers so they can buy higher dollar items. Step number 6. Optimize your list by targeting your traffic source. Just because you have a lot of people on your list doesn't necessarily mean you will make a lot of money. There are a lot of list marketers with huge bloated lists but are struggling. The reason is that they made the all-too-common mistake of assuming that the more the merrier. That's not going to cut it in modern email marketing. You need to get the right people on your list. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of freebie downloaders on your list. These people don't even bother to unsubscribe, but the damage remains the same. They are not likely to open your emails and not likely to convert. How can they? They don't even read your emails. Optimize your list by using source-targeted traffic strategies. As much as possible, you should start with free traffic sources to optimize your squeeze page and your updates. By using free traffic, you should be able to get enough clues as to how to tighten up the incentive you're offering, increase your squeeze page conversion rate, and maximize your email open rate. Once you use free traffic to get this information, you're obviously saving money. The downside of this is you're going to have to invest time into this. You're still paying, but not in the form of money. Instead, you're paying in the form of time. Using free traffic, highlight your incentive. Use brand-building content to get people excited about the value of your updates. Keep optimizing your squeeze page and your updates until you are confident that these can convert paid traffic at a high enough rate. Paid traffic targeting strategy. Once your squeeze page has been optimized by free traffic, start taking out paid ads. Now, I don't suggest that you jump in with both feet and place $100 a day ads on Facebook or Google AdWords. Instead, I suggest that you optimize your squeeze page and your mailing list to paid traffic using small, targeted ad buys. Start with $1 daily buys. Pay attention to your statistics. See if people are really converting at a high enough rate. Keep tweaking your squeeze page until your $1 ad buys convert at a fairly high rate. Once you've done this, start optimizing your email updates to boost your conversion rate. This requires a tremendous amount of attention to detail. You can't be lazy about this. You can't just set it and forget it. You have to pay close attention to your ad campaigns so you can quickly deactivate campaigns that are not working, while increasing the volume of ad campaigns that are producing a higher level of conversions. You have to be proactive. You can't just sit back and spend money on paid ads. Believe me, paid ad costs can spike up very quickly, especially if you are not paying close attention. At best, you would be throwing good money after bad on campaigns that are not working out. Step number 7. Optimize your squeeze page sign-up rate. In previous steps, I've gone over this topic at some level. Still, optimizing your squeeze page plays a critical role in the success of your mailing list campaigns that you need to go through specialized steps to ensure your optimization efforts are correct. It's extremely important that you follow the steps below. Don't miss any detail. Make sure you implement each of the steps below, otherwise, you're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. You have to understand that these optimization steps assume that you have already set up your squeeze page and have set out your updates. It also assumes that you've already optimized your squeeze page at some level. Here are further optimization ideas to try to maximize the conversion ability of your email list recruitment page. Ask, and you shall receive. Do direct outreach with your list members. These are people who have already signed up to your list and are in the best position to know about the things you can do to improve your squeeze page. They've already gone through the conversion process. They've seen your squeeze page, obviously liked something that they saw, and they signed up. Now is the time to reach out directly to them and ask for suggestions. Pick their brains regarding the things that you did right and any areas for improvement. Believe me, this is no time to assume that everything you've set up is perfect. You have to set your ego aside and ask for suggestions. There is always room for improvement. Make sure to offer some incentives for the feedback. This is critical. You have to understand that people have better things to do than to respond to your email. With everything else being equal, most people would probably just read your email and not bother to respond because there's nothing in it for them. They have other more important things to take care of. You have to make it worth their while to respond. With that said, you also have to be careful. Some people might give you sloppy or even misleading information just to get the incentive that you're offering. Pose some sort of incentive that is attractive enough for people to want to respond to your outreach. However, it shouldn't be so attractive that you get fake results. What should you ask feedback for? Ask for how your squeeze page can be made better. However, you have to break down the squeeze page elements one by one. You can't just say, "How can I improve my email list recruitment base?" That's too broad. Instead, you have to look at the different elements that go into your squeeze page. Ask them, am I using the right graphic? Is the text easy to understand? Is the value proposition behind the incentive I'm giving away very clear? Similarly, you should ask about the quality of the updates you're sending out. More specifically, you should ask your list members, what improvements should I make for you to forward my emails to people you know? Don't neglect the power of feedback because oftentimes the cheapest and most efficient way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. Ask your list members, but offer an incentive. It's also very important to make sure that you don't just jump on the first suggestion you get. Look at the total amount of responses you get and pay attention to the most common theme. If people keep talking about the picture on your squeeze page and only a handful of people mention the incentive that you offer, chances are quite good that if you change your squeeze page graphics, you might be able to increase your conversion rate. Look for these patterns. Don't get thrown off track by outlier responses. Warning: I wish I could tell you that you only need to rely on people's direct answers to boost your conversion rate. Unfortunately, this is not the case. In the back of our heads, when people ask us a question, we tend to try to give them the answer that we think they're looking for. This is always the case. This applies across the board. Now, these suggestions can lead to all sorts of problems if you use them to guide the changes to your squeeze page. You have to pay attention to the most common answers that you get. Next, you have to cross-reference these responses with the actual actions people take. Actions speak louder than words. When you look at your squeeze page, please understand that you're not looking at one unified element. The squeeze page is actually made up of many different parts. There is the picture of the incentive, the text offering the incentive, the font, the size of the font, the color, the layout, among others. There are many different elements that go into that page. Change each element one at a time and pay attention to the conversion statistics. Make many different variations, and then test these variations against your traffic. You should quickly see that at least one variation has a higher conversion rate than others. The improvement might be fairly small. It might even be 1% or a couple of percentage points. That's okay. You need to isolate that variation and make more variations of it. Run traffic through all the variations and see if you can improve your conversion rate. Keep going through this process of making variations, testing with traffic, picking the winner, and making more variations until no further conversion rate improvement is possible. At this point, you should make variations of another element on your squeeze page. It's important to make sure that you change only one element at a time. For example, you can optimize the image of your squeeze page. Once your squeeze page converts at a higher rate and can't improve any further, then start changing around the text and see if that has a positive effect. Move from one element at a time until the squeeze page converts at a fairly high and predictable rate. Cross-reference these element changes with the actual feedback that you get from your list members. Using these two pieces of data, you should be able to come up with a statistics-driven modification strategy. Otherwise, you're just going to be taking your list members' words at face value. And it's anybody's guess whether their suggestions will actually improve your squeeze page's conversion rate. Use social proof. There's one simple trick that you can use to push people psychologically to sign up to your mailing list. We've all seen squeeze pages before. Typically, there's an email field, a call to action, and a submit button. There also might be a nice-looking graphic on the side. Unfortunately, these squeeze pages are so common that people usually become blind to them after enough exposure. However, people can and do set up and pay attention when they see that their other Facebook friends have signed up to the list. Alternatively, they become slightly more interested to see that a large number of people on Facebook have liked the page that they're viewing. This is called social proof. Few people like eating at a restaurant that is empty. At the back of their mind, they're thinking that the food must not be very good because there's nobody eating at the restaurant. On the other hand, if the restaurant is full and there are people lining up to get in, chances are quite good that people would want to line up. Even more because all these people simply can't be wrong. Do you see how group psychology works? You can use that psychology of social proof to boost your squeeze page conversion rate by adding the developer code of the biggest brand in your niche to your squeeze page. Facebook allows you to include the URL of a site on the code that it gives you to show Facebook likes. Embed that code onto your squeeze page to give the impression that a lot of people already like your squeeze page. In fact, this trick is so effective that it shows the viewer's friends' names along with the thousands of other people who have liked that page. Piggyback on this social pool and give the viewer the push he or she needs to sign up to your list.